The Chimera Ant arc of HunterXHunter is incredibly complex. There's a large cast of characters in unique situations spread out over a wide area. Each of these characters are dealing with specific struggles against each other and developing their own ways that are predominantly internal. Out of all of these characters, there is one person who in one short scene gives clear justification for the narrator in HunterXHunter. There are 3 other videos I would recommend checking out if you haven't seen them already. They go in depth on the Chimera Ant arc and the narrator in their own ways, and are very enjoyable listens. There is also one grey one that shows the invasion happening in real time without the narrator. This video is going to focus on one scene which will be shown after this paragraph. After watching it, I would like to present my case on how, in microcosm, this scene represents the necessity of the narrator, and how you may have underestimated your own complex understanding of the HunterXHunter world.
右足を破壊されたシュートは無意識のうちに残った足で腕の上に立っていた。過去に試したことすらなかったにもかかわらず、シュートはこれこそが自分の奥義だと確信した。加えて右目を塞いだのにも明確な理由があったわけではない。ただ当人は追い込まれるほど力がみなぎってくるのをこの状況で楽しんでいた。
I always appreciated the narrator during this arc, but these short sentences, even on my first viewing, cemented him as a key figure for me. Not everyone enjoys the narrator, and I'm not trying to convince people to like him. I'm just going to provide a short, good example of how important he is to this arc. In HunterXHunter's magic system, Nen, there are quite a few complex rules to follow and understand that separate it from most standard magic systems. On a surface level, it can most easily be compared to superhero magic, where each character has specific, sometimes unique, sets of abilities, except that each character who uses Nen theoretically share a certain baseline of abilities, and to a point can copy others with practice. There are also a lot of other rules. Nen can stay active after death. It's empowered and weakened by emotional and mental states. One can die by incorrectly using it. And importantly for this video, one can immensely increase the power of their abilities through conditions, vows, and limitations. By the time you get to this point in HunterXHunter, you've been given a reasonably clear understanding of the strengths and weaknesses of each character and their abilities. You've seen examples of restrictions used to empower and weaken characters. You'll also likely know how people can grow, and where they will excel or fail while using Nen without explicitly being told. This system breeds intricacy, and one's physical strength or even potential Nen power is rarely the deciding factor in a fight. Rather, how one uses their power is far more important. The creativity on display by the author, characters, and especially fans when it comes to how Nen can be used for not only fights, but many challenging situations, is incredibly impressive. In this scene, Shoot is fighting a monster, even by HunterXHunter standards. Yuppie is a hot-headed, ruthless brawler. He is significantly stronger than all of the main cast of heroes on location, and can manipulate his body at will, adding limbs and changing their structure. Shoot's goal here is to buy time while the attack of his teammate, Knuckle, matures. This is important because Shoot's intention is not to defeat Yuppie himself. He is a distraction. Let's go through these lines now, skipping the first that addresses his broken leg and what he is doing. This is most easily understood, and has the least amount of subtext. The characters who do have ultimate or mainstay techniques tend to be defined by them and define them by their personalities. Without dissecting Shoot's character, this makes perfect sense as his ultimate technique, given his growth from overwhelming cowardice to front-facing bravery. He can hyper-focus on maneuverability while maintaining his combative edge. Without thinking too hard about it, it is just a cool-sounding line, but it does hold up well under scrutiny. The fact that he had no clear reason to cover his eye is important, because we know very well by now that by limiting oneself, their power can increase in game-changing ways. This creates a large blind spot for Shoot, against an enemy who is far stronger and faster than himself. Limiting one's senses could lead not only to a change in power in HunterXHunter's magic system, but a drastic change in how the fight plays out mechanically. This is expanded upon immediately, because while we have seen Shoot's growth here, the narrator outright tells us that he is becoming more powerful. By linking the two lines, we can quickly deduce that the strength isn't coming from a well-known feature of Nen, but a change in character. This change in character was established previously, but Shoot going from unrelenting cowardice to enjoying a situation which was getting worse for him, which would lead to his death, is in my opinion the best confirmation with this line. On top of this, he's actively making more of a challenge of this already life-threatening situation, which is irrational behavior. Without the explanation, we would have to assume that there is a benefit for him engaging in this act. This one scene, comprised of 4 sentences, gives us the following information. Shoot is severely injured. Because of this, he has founded his ultimate technique, which ties into his established abilities and personality. He is acting abnormally in line with these character changes, and this act has no effect on his growing strength in this fight, which instead comes from a change of mindset and character. We are given a lot of information, both visually and through narration. This scene is by no means the most complex in terms of character, story development, exposition, internal monologuing, or even just explaining the power being used by the characters on screen. But in the entire Anne arc, I think it's the most succinct event that justifies the narrator's value in all departments. He touches on character, story, internal thoughts, external circumstances, exposition, and all in an easily digestible way. At this point, you've become so accustomed to the intricacies of the magic system that without the narrator, you may have assumed Shoot's growing abilities were due to limitations or vows. Virtually everything the narrator says had to be told to us, the audience, somehow, since it couldn't be shown through visuals alone. In this scene especially, a monologue or dialogue wouldn't make sense for the narrative. This happens throughout the entire arc, which has much more complicated moments. Without the narrator, our understanding of fast-paced events would be extremely limited, and we would simply never gain a better understanding of what was happening. Thanks to this scene, and many like it, fans have been able to avoid conversations like the real reason Shoot held out against Yuppie, and there are plenty of conversations like that already in the HunterXHunter fandom. I've been thinking about this scene for too long now, and wanted to get into videos breaking down aspects from anime, shows, and potentially novels. This just felt like a right fit to start that. Look forward to more in the future. If you did enjoy this, please like and subscribe. Socials are down in the description. Thank you very much for watching a video about a 7-year-old show. If you have any additional arguments for or against the narrator in HunterXHunter, I'd love to hear them in the comments below. Please just be polite to each other.